All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this webinar talking about CRM. My co-host today is Victoria Searl. Hello, Vic. I hope you're well.
Hiya. Good. How are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. Looking forward to this. And we basically, we've got about 45 minutes, about 45 slides to whiz through, which should hopefully give you a little bit of insight into CRM and why it's important for hospitality. Oh, hello, we've got a room. Brilliant. I'm just going to kick it off and just go for it, I think. So let me figure out how to do this. Go back to that screen there. So, Vic, would you like to introduce yourself?
Why not, Dan? Do you know what? Nobody calls me Victoria anymore. So when somebody says it, it's a bit jarring, honestly, because I'm so used to being called it now. But I am Victoria Searl. This is my 30th year in hospitality, actually. Did about 15 years in ops for my sins, and then about 12 years ago moved over to marketing. And then founded DataHawks in 2019, right at the end of 2019, just before the whole sort of COVID thing kicked off. So my timing was impeccable. But I founded DataHawks because I was really frustrated at how we do marketing in this industry and how we claim to be a customer business, but we do less than any other sector I know than to get to know their customers and to leverage that insight. And I'm always in stripes. I'm in stripes today. I'm in my summer stripes. And the one thing to kind of note as well on this is just take a little screen grab of those numbers, because if you're not already in team marketing, I'd love you to join me and 450 other incredible hospitality marketers and marketing suppliers. It's absolute chaos in there, but it's like one of the best groups ever. So just drop me a little note or email me and you can find me there. But yeah, that's me, picking the stripes.
And I'm Dan Brookman. I'm the CEO of Airship and Toggle. I'm an ex-publican, so that's a picture of me looking far more handsome in my early 20s, where I just bought a swimming pool, which I then converted to a big live music venue called the Deep End. And that's where my journey really begins. I mean, prior to that, I was a pot wash and a glass collector and worked the bars in local pubs in Sheffield. But really, I kicked my hospitality career off properly when I opened this venue. An Airship was born out of this venue, so I was looking for a way to store customer data. I created a membership system called, a membership scheme called the Deep Ender card, this is where it was all born. So I'm now proud to be part of the Zonal family, and Zonal have very kindly arranged this for today. So here we go. Our businesses, Airship. We work for about 350 hospitality brands. We're an email service provider and a CRM platform. And Vic?
Yeah, we do two things. So we have a product that we call the Marketing Intelligence Report, which is a combination of audit, of insight and strategy. So we're going to take all that data out of your system and give you some really interesting insights. But also what was happening was we were handing these insights over and people were sort of telling us that they didn't have the time to do anything with it. And so we founded a business called Campaigns. And Campaigns is basically a done-for-you email marketing service. And it sort of, hangs off three pillars. It's segmentation, what's the most profitable action we want to take from your emails. It's around personalization. So how can we leverage all this incredible data that we're able to scoop out of your system and use that to make sure we're delivering comms which really resonate, and automation, because I know we're going to get stuck into it in a little while, but automation is literally making money while you sleep, and we're huge sort of proponents of all three of those disciplines.
Great, thank you. So we've got 45 minutes and then hopefully plenty of time for questions at the end. So if you want to pop anything in the chat, you can do, and without further ado, let's go. The importance of CRM. So first of all, what's CRM? I thought I might address that first and foremost, and I asked ChatGPT because it's what we do, isn't it, nowadays? And basically, a CRM is customer relationship management. So it refers to a system or strategy that businesses use to manage and analyze their interactions and relationships with customers. They're designed to help customers streamline sales, marketing, customer service processes by organizing, centralizing their data. Thanks to GBT. You already use these in your businesses, because it's things like booking platforms and Wi-Fi platforms and feedback, you could argue, are all CRM systems. And what Airship is something that centralizes all of that. And it's really driven on data, and there's loads of it. And in hospitality, for context, we use it to increase customer visit frequency and understand valuable, what makes a valuable customer, really. Vic, anything to add on that?
No, I mean, I'm just really glad that you found a way to boil that top paragraph down into basically a line on your website. And you know, it's all about loyalty, isn't it? But yeah, it's interesting to sort of see it written like that, really, isn't it? When it's actually a pretty simple concept.
Quite a simple concept. The goal of CRM in hospitality is to drive more visits, to drive more spend per visit, to increase quieter times and drive business to quieter times, to create customer delight, understand spend, and understand marketing ROI, and effectively grow revenue.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that, you know, one of the things that I go back to is like when we started out in this, and in the like 2010, around that time, working for people like Novus Leisure, Late Night London, you know, their CRM efforts were all driving numbers, all driving occupancy, all, you know, all focused on that. And I think we've gone backwards a little bit from that. Yeah,
listen, Dan, I couldn't agree more, because actually I still think a lot of the time as an industry, we think this stuff is like a nice to have, or we're doing something like, you know, particularly progressive. And this is an absolute minimum, because getting to know your customers in that kind of detail, if you're not doing it, and if you're not leveraging that insight to drive that frequency and do all the stuff on this list, you can guarantee that other businesses are, your competitors are. So you've got no choice. It's an absolute must-have.
So why collect data? First and foremost, unlike social media, it's an asset. It's an asset to your business. You own it. It becomes part of the value of your business, and that's really important. You know, we think about TikTok and other social medias, and there's always that risk that they either destroy themselves or get removed by government literally overnight. And all of that effort that you can put into those social channels, although they're great channels and great at building brand and hopefully driving new customer visits, you don't own them, you don't control them. You've just got access to them. And there's no disputing that CRM data delivers revenue. It's, you know, a healthy database will drive visits. You can lean on it. You know, an engaged database is vital for gaining insight. You understand who your customers are, who the most valuable are, who's those that may be lapsing. You've already got it in your business. So most businesses have got at least 3 or 4 sources of data flowing in. And then it can provide you with guest insight that helps you delight customers. Nowadays, the integration of platforms mean that you can measure ROI. And, you know, it was always a purpose of mine to help marketeers understand which 50% of their marketing was working. And nowadays, we can absolutely nail that down as to what is working. And the more time you spend in person and digitally with your customers, the more likely they are to return. So constant comms to those customers from that data is imperative. Vic, anything to add on that?
Do you know what? It's something that you and I have talked about a lot, actually, around, you know, the difference between good data and bad data, and good metrics and bad metrics. So, you know, we're still very focused on vanity metrics in this industry, you know, so we get really caught up on what's the size of your database. It doesn't really matter if you're not doing anything with it, you know, if you're not leveraging it. And I think if we paid more attention to things like your data, which proves that you're talking to a customer. Social doesn't prove that you're talking to a customer. You know, it says that they like you, but it doesn't necessarily say that they're using you. So you use your data because you know that they're your customers. And I think actually probably your CRM and the data within it is the closest you will ever get to your customers. So if as an industry, we're serious about understanding people and using those insights to drive great comms and great brand development, you'll never get closer to a customer than you will the data that's sitting in your CRM. You just won't.
Very good. there's tons of sources of data. So these are different touch points that we have with customers within a hospitality business. Interestingly, I think, one of a couple of new ones on there that we've just added, the room stay data integrations with people like HLS and photo booth data, which actually is it's cracking. It's such a good source of data.
Dan, you've got to remember to actually not be drunk enough that you put your email in like we didn't do that time in Revolution.
Yeah, I remember.
Might have missed a trick there.
Yeah, might have missed a trick. But we're seeing tons and tons of data coming through our partnerships with Photo Booth and in particular PhotoBot. And photo booths are great revenue drivers as well, but the data that you get, and a lot of these different data sources give us a proof of presence, and we're going to go on and talk about that. But actually, all of these sources of data, what we see from websites and widgets and different engagements from customers is actually, generally what they see as a tick box is, would you like to sign up? Would you like to receive marketing? And to really put that to use, you need to put yourself in your customer's shoes and ask the question, what's in it for me? And I don't think that hospitality does that very well. We call this the value exchange. And the value exchange that you have with your customer is really imperative. And I think that it's lacking currently. And what we promote as Airship is that brands nail down their value exchange. And what I like to see is that the value exchange encompasses all of customers, rather than just a narrow focus on customers. So a value exchange is really about marketing. It's just about brand. It's about taking 3, 4, 5 things that you can deliver back to your customers, generally through automation, that drive revenue occasions. And this example here from Ego, the Ego Club, is a good example of that. And what we see on there is that you've got 20% off all a la carte starters, mains, desserts, Sunday to Friday, birthday offer, and then discount vouchers that are sent after people have signed up. Ego also capture the anniversary date of the customer as well, so they can reward the customer or entice the customer to visit on their special day. And the key to these is that you make it really easy for the customer and your teams to understand what it is you're doing for the customer, how the teams redeem it. Automation fulfills the promise of what you're delivering back to the customer. You should be generous in the collection of what you give to the customer and to get more signups. And don't get lost in the detail. And many hospitality operators do get lost in the detail. They try and do too much. And you can build as you go on this. Vic, anything to add on that?
Listen, it's just picking up your point around generosity, because I think because marketing is seen as being a cost rather than an investment in this industry, and that's the battle us marketers are always going to have. There's this thing around, well, how much do you give? And we talk to clients all the time where we're saying, be generous, give your best-selling main away or something. So let's say that's 15 quid, and that feels like a massive cost if you're giving that away to a load of new people. But when you consider that your opted-in customers are probably worth anywhere between sort of 30, 40, 50 to 500 pounds a year more than your non-opted-in customers, suddenly that seems like a really small investment in driving 500 quid worth of sales. And if I gave you anyone a machine, and said you pop 15 quid in and 500 quid will come back out, that would be a no-brainer. And that's all we're kind of suggesting here. Invest in getting people to opt in, because without fail, your opted-in customers will be worth more than your opted-out customers.
Yeah, great. A couple of examples from Ego here around the actual automation and the emails that go out. A welcome to the family there with a voucher code that redeems back through the till, and then an email template there that's obviously using contact first name merge in there and unit merge in there as well. And you want personalization in those emails. You need to be addressing customers by name, and it captures them more in the inbox when they're seeing that either in the subject line or the plain text header or the email body. They know they're being marketed to. It's just that you are doing a better job of it when you're using personalization. So active signups versus passive signups. This is again about that tick box, about that data that comes through booking and Wi-Fi and feedback and those other means. It's just about that opt-in. And what we see is about a 25% opt-in from booking data, maybe 15% from feedback data, much higher from Wi-Fi data. They're a bit smarter as to how they do it. But really, it's about taking the customers all on the same journey from the outset. So if a customer opts in to receive information from you, to receive that value exchange, laying that out from the outset so that they're all getting the same journey. If down the track you want to introduce loyalty or the download of an app or a membership or something like that, that's fine. It can be part of the customer journey. But if you try and shoehorn people into that from the get-go, what you'll find is that you'll only get a small number of people signing up. And, you know, the value exchange, running it through your business, making sure that it's on internal point of sale, making sure that you're using your social audiences to leverage signups as well, running competitions, just anything to get all of that data coming in through the top of the funnel. So remembering the different engagement that people have. Vic, do you want to talk about proof of presence a little bit and explain to the listeners what we mean by that?
Yeah, for sure. So it kind of picks up on that point I made earlier on around how, you know, attached we are to things like social data. But social data is predominantly telling us who likes us. It's not necessarily telling us who's in the business. And so that proof of presence data is data which means that somebody's leaving a digital footprint. You know, we know that they've been in the business because they've left us some sort of digital footprint. And that could be something like you've logged into the Wi-Fi, or you've redeemed a voucher, or you've made a booking, or whatever it is. And it's really important because not only does it give us a sense of who's coming into the business, and you can work out things like your frequency and your recency and help identify and profile the key groups within your business and who represents most value and opportunity to you, but it helps you with your reporting at the other end. Because if you're measuring proof of presence as being your success metric, that's then proving the incremental value of what it is you're doing. And when we've done marketing previously, we tend to be in a bit of a sort of fix in hospitality where we do return on marketing, but it's really hard to prove the impact of that. And it's why it's really hard to kind of get money in the first place, because it's really hard to prove the return. Where if you're looking at proof of presence as being your metric, not only is it going to tell you who to market to and tell you what you should be talking to them about, but then you can trace that whole journey back. So, you know, they've been back in the building, they've left us that proof of presence again as a result of seeing, you know, one of my emails. And in that case, you can then get a really strong handle of exactly what your communications has done to put bums on seats and money in the till.
Yeah, perfect. And nowadays we get, that receipt's a poor copy. Nowadays we get purchase data, and this is a bit of a game changer because actually pulling the purchase data back out of the POS and assigning it to a customer record where we have something that's got a customer identifier like a booking reference, a voucher redemption, a gift card redemption, a loyalty or ID, a loyalty or membership ID swipe. It means that you've then got that ROI, and that ROI is just the magic. It's been what we've been chasing it for years, and now we've got it. And it means that all of a sudden your CRM comes alive, and all of those automations and those campaigns and everything that you're running, you can really understand the ROI. And we do that through a dashboard, really straightforward, so that we can see the proof of presences in different locations and across businesses. We can see the opt-ins, we can see the known revenue, and then we can see what emails have been sent, open rates and click rates. And we convert that into a really easy funnel. So the funnel basically is, again, the send, what's been opened, what's been clicked, and then the visit conversion of how many people have been seen. And remember, you know, this is only a small proportion of data, because not all of your customers engage with you and have a digital signature. Many will just visit without touching the business at all. So it's how we can get more people to engage with the business to find out more about people. I guess, you know, Vic and I have mixed memories of the pandemic and track and trace, but you know, with track and trace, it was a bit insane, wasn't it? All of a sudden we were seeing 100% of the people.
It really was game changer. So it's a bit gutted that we weren't allowed to use it properly, actually, because when we're doing sort of our audits of people's systems, we're seeing that, you know, we see that some businesses are capturing as low as 2% of their footfall. I mean, 2%. Even the ones that are doing it incredibly well are maybe capturing 50%. So look at all the opportunity that you have to go on. But also, if you're collecting 2% of your footfall, you're making some pretty bold decisions about the marketing that you're doing and, you know, the way your brand's evolving based on not very much insight at all. And bearing in mind, these are your real customers. So the more data you've got, even if you don't move the dial on any of your metrics, the more data you've got, the more people you can influence, and you're going to sort of see more money going in the till just by the very nature of there's more people there.
Yeah. So just thinking about engagement then, there's so much opportunity. I mean, hospitality really does have the best content. There's loads of user-generated content, but there's just loads of opportunity in every business. And often when I run strategy sessions with brands and go and talk to brands, they all sit there, notepads and pens out, ready and waiting for me to say something really, you know, revolutionary. And actually what I do is open up their website and just flick through their website and say, you know, is this part of your journey? Is that part of your journey? Are you talking to customers about the fact that you've got these great, you know, conference rooms available, or hidden dining rooms, or, you know, private dining events, or gin masterclasses, or you've got a musician on, or the sports on? There's so many occasions and so many opportunities to talk to customers within those journeys, and within your campaigns as well. And you know, making sure that the customer's on a bit of a journey with you and they're bought into the brand and what you're about and your proposition. So making sure that you're doing that, and then obviously just delivering on the value exchange as well, and that automation and delivering on those promises. Have you got anything to add on that, thinking about that engagement?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the only thing I'd kind of pick up is around the delivery piece, because that's something that's, you know, it's been troubling me for a while about how much hospitality businesses are losing data to, you know, to the aggregators. But I think it comes down to your piece around, like, how do you fold that into the brand? And let's say you send something out that goes out via Deliveroo, but in the bag is a whole brand piece with a really compelling reason to QR code something and get back. It means that even with that kind of group of people you're not talking to directly, you've got a good chance of winning them back. And then if that journey is right, as you said, Dan, you just follow them through the same funnel. You just have to work ever so slightly harder for it.
So just on to automation, and really, you know, it's not about having a single journey set up for a birthday and ticking a box and saying that we've, you know, it's done. It's really about, you know, in my mind, a customer would stand at least one automated email from you driven on context per week. Okay, you're up against an inbox, which is Netflix, it's Amazon, it's all of these daily subscription services, it's news services, it's fast fashion brands, it's all of these things that we sign up to. And they're emailing every day, and once, twice, sometimes a day. And consumers nowadays, they don't unsubscribe. You know, unsubscribe rates are still under 1%. What they're doing is they're just swiping, or they're scrolling past, or they're clicking and opening and then closing. The level of engagement from consumers is just absolutely immense. The amount of digital content that they're seeing on an ongoing basis is absolutely immense. So, you know, what we like to see on the different different journeys is a series of journeys that are set up, and they're quite clever, and they're, you know, suppressing data. So we've got some examples here. And a welcome journey might be talking about the story, it might be talking about the food, it might be talking about social media, it might be talking about the gift cards, and it might have segmentation in it. And they're all based on date triggers, based on a created date of the customers first joining your database. And they've got calls to action on, and they might have a unique voucher on, and they've got engagement basically to drive it back to the venues. Vic, have you got anything else around the welcome journey that you've seen out there that you really like, or that you recommend?
Yeah, for sure. And just picking up on your last point, by the way, around like engagement, emails are still massively growing across all demographic groups. So there's a little bit of a mindset of like, oh, well, our emails a bit sort of like, a bit old fashioned, emails are dying. They're growing. Every group is growing their use of email. So, there's so much to go for. But I think the one point I'd make on welcome journeys is, when I've seen a really good one, and obviously I'm going to look at it a bit more forensically because I'm in that business, it's when every email has a point, it's there to do a job. So it's there to tell you about the brand, or it's there to tell you about something, or it's there to, offer social proof. And I've seen a couple of journeys that I feel like have just got a bit long and a bit flabby, and maybe they've lost all sense of, what they're for. And if they haven't got a strong point, if they're not really engaging, then they might very well lose somebody's attention. So just every email that goes in it, just make sure it's got a point. Would this be enough to keep your interest, or, is it educational? Is it informative? Is it entertaining? Whatever it is, has it got a point? I think that's the crucial thing for me.
A couple of examples here. This is Giggling Squid. This is a segmentation journey that they have set up. I think it's email too. They offer a £50 draw when people update their profiles, so that drops them into a group, and they'll pick a winner on a monthly basis out of that group and draw a winner. But they're asking about how do it's quite smart. How do you giggle? Takeaway, delivery, eat in. Back to Vic's point, when do you giggle? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Really simple segmentation. What are they interested in? Capturing the family thing there. So offers and activities for kids. So they're not asking, do you have kids? They're wording it in such a way that they're capturing that. And then the sensitive messaging as well around Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Valentine's Day, which is, it's really, let's say, popular now that marketeers do that. You need to be consistent with it if you are going to do it. Make sure that you do opt those people out of those broadcasts going forward. This is Crust Brothers, which is I think they have 2 or 3 in London now. And they really have a nice sort of welcome journey over the first 30 days. Quite raw, the content that they put out, quite, it's not all massive, beautiful photographs. They're just taking user-generated content and content of their own, and just really taking the customer on a brand journey with them. And then the last one is a free garlic bread, and driving them back to Waterloo to, use a unique voucher and track that spend back. So really, really straightforward journey.
But also, what a great opportunity to do a brand piece as well. Because if you look at Giggling Squids, I remember seeing that journey, and I emailed Lesanne afterwards and just said that first piece with the squid and the celery properly made me laugh, and I got such a good sense of the brand, and I was just instantly hooked because I just thought it was absolutely delightful. And then you look at Crust Brothers, and it's exactly what the brand is. It's really sort of user generated. So two really great touch points. Dan, I wanted to ask you quickly. You just mentioned about sensitive days, and my kind of mindset is that if I'm going to be upset by, let's say, a Father's Day email coming up, and then somebody a month before asked me, do I want to opt out for Father's Day? That's kind of almost like as bad. We should ask this stuff right up front, don't we? Because when you're in the run up to Father's Day, the last thing we want to be doing is bothering people going, do you want to hear about this thing that we know is going to really upset you?
Yeah, and I think that you can do that if you've got a good value exchange, because you're exchanging the data from the customer. You're asking them there and then. It's the point that they're signing up. So even if they've ticked a box on a booking form or a feedback form, if that first email that they get, it bounces back, it's immediate. It's like, welcome, let's get to know each other a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about yourselves. You capture that information then. You explain what your value exchange is, what they're going to get back from you. I think absolutely it's the right time to do it up front. Yeah. And then celebrations. So, again, such a big opportunity for hospitality and things like birthday journeys. And again, a lot of marketeers I speak to say, on my birthday, I get tons of stuff. Well, the marketeers aren't the customers, and they probably get tons of stuff because they've signed up to loads of stuff to find out what other people are doing, and they're not afraid of signing up to things. But you've got to think about our customers and the customers of restaurants and bars. and pubs and, you know, all leisure businesses. And actually, they're not signing up to 50 different things. They're picking and choosing, and certainly the older the demographic as well, the less they are opting in and signing up. So just make sure that your birthday journey is a really good revenue driver. Make sure that you're starting early if you've got function space and you've got something to sell. Because, you know, if I've got a big birthday coming up, and, you know, I'm going to book it probably 2 months in advance. And you really need to be ahead of that. So you think about that, and you don't need to say it's your birthday in 2 months' time. You can say looking to celebrate, and just being a little bit more less direct about it, but still getting your message across. So, you know, a typical birthday journey might be 5 or 6 birthday emails long, and I've got some examples. But before that, there's also this piece around capturing missing date of births. So you don't capture a date of birth when somebody books a table with you, and you shouldn't capture a date of birth unless you've got your value exchange built into that widget. But, you know, have a look at your data size and then run a report and see how much date of births you've got on your database. And if you know, most people are about 60%. So just target that other 40% and ask them to input their date of birth. Back to Giggling Squid again, actually, as an example. They've got a really nice example here, really crisp and clean. And the on the day birthday message there with a picture of their team is just perfect. It's a really, really nice journey. Anything on that side of things, Vic?
No, I'm just a fan. I'm just a huge fan of it. I think it's a beautiful journey.
Yeah. Some celebration top tips here for you. Birthdays are a big part of the value exchange. Really easy to do. Be generous with them and go early to market and catch those big occasions. Retarget customers that don't book. So we get data from zonal tables. We get it from other booking providers as well. We can, in Airship, you can basically say, don't send this to somebody if they've already booked in the next 60 days or 30 days. You can do that, and you can exclude people who have downloaded a voucher or used a voucher. So there's lots of different automation you can do, but focus on the revenue opportunities. You know, report on the revenue opportunities from those birthday journeys. Have customers going to particular widgets that are set up just to capture those birthdays. And with the reporting now, with the basket data, you understand how many people have been, how much revenue's been delivered. So report that, get it in your board pack. And then use personalization in there. It's really important. Capture people as they're looking down their inbox.
Yeah, for sure. Dan, I was just reminded of something that I think it was you or Sam Brown said around birthdays, where it's like, you know, 100% of your customers have a birthday, and yet, you know, it's such a lost opportunity. And if you're not marketing to your customer around their birthday, your competitors absolutely will be.
Yep. Absolutely. Another example here with The Alchemist, and the couple of bits here, their imagery and branding is always absolutely on point. It's part of who they are. It's part of their proposition. And the animation that they're using here obviously brings this email to life. But the important thing here is actually there's 3 opportunities here for the customer to celebrate with them. So they've got cocktail masterclass, they've got a party planning in there as well, and then they've got a free dish. So there's 3 opportunities within that one birthday email for that customer to engage with them. And it looks beautiful as well. It's super clever, that. Yeah, animation can work really well. And obviously these are GIFs, but animation works really well in email. Some examples, very boringly titled slide there that I've written, apologies. Some examples just of how people use CRM. So back to what Vic was talking about. So what Rose's Tie did is that they stuck a label on every Deliveroo box that was going out for the customer to scan. It sent the customer to feed it back. The customer then filled out a feed it back survey. And then if they were a promoter, it would send them on and ask them to do a Google review. It also served up a £5 toggle voucher for the customer to then go and use back in a Rosa's tie. So the Rosa's tie are capturing them every which way. Leveraging those people that might eat at home, but also driving them back to venue. And like on a day-to-day, it's like today, it's chucking it down here in Sheffield. They might want to ping out a little email to all of those people that order through Deliveroo, just saying, you know, it's raining outside, or a text message, it's raining outside. Why not order online? And Ego, they do like a flash sale at the end of some months, and they're sending an email to the best people on their database, basically, and they're sending an email, and it's a flash sale, and it's saying buy a gift card for £50 and we'll load it with £60 worth of value, and it's a reward for those good customers. And when people buy gift cards like that, they're not buying them to send on to friends. They're buying it and just making the decision of where they're going to eat next. It's literally you've just made that decision for them. So if they were going to go out or not go out at the weekend, you may find that they're now coming out. And they have a really good result from this when they run it. And that's because they're sending it to the most engaged people. And it's such a great offer, and it's self-gifting. A few more examples just to really show you about the quality of emails and how flexible they can be. Honest Burgers here, you know, I mean, I'm just starving looking at that. It's such a good photo. It's such nice content. Guinness fondue, I mean, what's not to love? And then people like Farmer J, who, you know, again, build really nice emails and not too many words. It used to be that we used to drive people from emails to websites to then get them converted. And I think that it's still relevant, but generally it's not people browsing through your website. Generally, it's more of an instant purchase, an instant engagement, a download of a voucher, a book online, using order and pay, Deliveroo, whatever it is. Have you got any thoughts on that, Vic?
I was talking to somebody the other day about their nervousness around starting to send emails because they worry that it will do a bit of a dirty on their brand, because they feel very strongly about their brand. And this is just a perfect example of what better way to bring your brand to life than those, because I'm not looking at them thinking they're 3 marketing emails, you know, they're 3 brand touch points.
Yeah, great. A couple more. I'm going to whiz through these now because I appreciate that we're the time. God, it's just flying by. So Tap and Run, guys. This is Stuart Broad and Harry Gurney. They've got a pub near Nottingham, and they've done a couple of flight plans with us, and you know, they've done a nice personal intro. They go on to their founding story. They've got a really nice feedback journey and a nice birthday. The birthday serves up a toggle voucher, so they're giving away stored value rather than a single-use voucher. They got a great ROI from this. It was a free bottle of Prosecco, but you needed to spend more than 50 quid. So, you know, a really straightforward offer, really nice branding, really nice touch points, and really nice journey. Really quickly on leveraging social. So a couple of customers recently have asked me about deleting data, and if a customer's not opted in, whether they should just get rid of that data. It's CRM this, so you need all of that customer profiling, because actually somebody might not be opted in from you, but they still might be having those digital signatures, those POPs, those proof of presence with you. It's really important that you keep that richness of data, because actually what you can do is something like Rudy's did. And what they did is when they opened in London in Soho, actually they took all of the data out of Airship, of all of their best customers from around the country, from their other locations, and they then uploaded that to Facebook. They created a lookalike audience. They then used an Airship Pages web form to invite people into a waiting group, basically to get a free pizza. They then released the pizza, and which drip fed emails over a number of hours and basically had people booking online. And within the first 17 minutes of the first 3 days of trade were completely booked. Within 2 hours, 6,000 pizzas have been claimed. 92% of those people then showed up. It went so well that Rudy's decided to give away another 3,500 pizzas. And then an automated email then nudged the customer to give them a review on TripAdvisor. And within a few weeks, Rudy's was number 26 on TripAdvisor in London. And more importantly, that location had a stack of great, actionable, positive customer data that they could then market to and go back to customers. And I think, Vic, you have some experience around what operators can do with CRM and also with credit card data as well, and leveraging CRM to drive insight.
Yeah, for sure. And just on that as well, just thinking about those people that are sitting in your CRM who aren't opted in, you know, by using those email addresses and retargeting through Facebook and stuff like that, you've got another chance of getting them to opt in. You can't obviously send them an email and go, you sure you don't want to opt in? You know, not allowed to do that. But we can find other ways of retargeting. So we're kind of, you know, forcing people back into the pile. Yeah, and I mean, a number of ways you can do this. One way that we use this data is we match the email addresses against a pot of data that we license from a business called StarCount. And StarCount hold the largest set of behavioural data in the UK. It's some incredible stuff. And as long as you're using, let's say, the same email address to sign up to the Rudy's database as you are to log into, say, your Twitter account, we can pull all of that stuff from all of those different platforms and put it back into your CRM. So you're just massively enhancing the data. And the beauty of it is not only are you going to get much more enhanced profiles, because you're understanding all the stuff that they're doing outside the business as well as yours, you get that crucial mindset and motivation behind it. And I use this example a lot, but Dan, let's say that you and me were, you know, the same gender and the same age, and we live on the same street and got the same frequency, same spend, you know, same recency, and we're both buying a vegan burger. You'd look at us and kind of think, well, we're kind of the same person, actually, market to us in the same way. And if you enhance that data, we'll start to understand all the stuff that, you know, you and I are looking at outside the business, and we'll quickly start to build a picture that you're really into fitness and riding your bike around and well-being and walking all over, you know, Yorkshire, and I'm much more into sort of sustainability and animal welfare and stuff like that. And that means that rather than sending out a batch and blast whole database email, say about your new menu, which, you know, is one thing, you could personalize on the fact that we're both vegan and send us a nice little vegan message, or you could personalize on the why and then really dial up, you know, things around fitness and well-being and health to you, and really dial up messaging around the fact that the carrots and the, you know, the spicy bean burger came from a farm down the road. And it comes down to that sort of personalization and just being able to really laser target and take your overarching brand messages and laser target them in the way that they're most likely to resonate with a person. Because when you do, you just see the conversion of those emails and the proof of presences that, you know, result from them. They just go off the scale.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And more personalization, we're all driving towards it. I think that customers expect it as well. You know, we're all shopping on e-commerce channels and watching Netflix and all of those, and using Amazon, and their personalization is so hot. You know, we need to push that into hospitality more, definitely. Little bit on rewards and loyalty. Again, I'm going to whiz through this. A loyal customer is a customer who has a strong affinity and commitment to a particular brand or business. Loyal customers consistently make repeat purchases or use the services of the same brand or business over an extended period of time. They have a positive emotional connection with the brand or business, and as a result, they're more likely to recommend the brand or business to others. So that's how we define it as a loyal customer. It's kind of what we're all aiming for. Back to that purpose, why do you want loyal customers? And how do you implement loyalty? Is it surprise and delight? Is it points-based? Something to think about. One of the reports that I come back to all the time is this POP, and how we use POP to understand loyal customers. And this table basically shows the number of visits a customer has, the unique customers. So there's 17,500 unique customers that have visited 43,000 times. So for a pub company, it's over 90 days. Basically what you've got is those customers that visited once, 65%, and then twice, 16%, all the way down to these guys here who visit 10 or more times. And those customers that visit 10 or more times, there's only 610 of them, but actually they make up 33% of the visits. It's a bit nuts. And it's very, very common on Airship to see this sort of data where you've got these hardcore of users. We don't really want to do anything with those people. We need to know when they've lapsed, but we need to know what their profiles are and who they are, so we can make more of these guys at the top through automation and through campaigns be more like these 10 plus, what we call the platinum customers.
Vic, for sure. Well, I've got a very strong opinion on this high value customer thing, because, most people have got a tiny percentage of their base driving the lion's share of their sales. And that's brilliant if you know who they are, because you can protect them and really look after them. But if you don't, in the market that we're operating in at the moment, it's kind of pretty negligent if you don't know who these people are. And by ring fencing those, like you say, we're going to protect them. We're not going to do anything but just to keep them there and keep them loving us. But it means that everybody else in that list, you're just trying to get one more visit, aren't you? Just trying to move them from just being that prospect to first visit, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and just moves them along that chain. And it's completely achievable, achievable. And what we do know is acquiring new customers is really, really expensive. So if you're losing people at the bottom of a leaky bucket, that's going to cause you a problem. We're just nurturing and protecting those really high value customers and moving everybody along with that one more visit. It's just a better way to spend your money, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So we do it through segmentation. We have different segments. We drive next visits. We do it through automation. And that's how we manage it. And Airship's set up so customers automatically drop in these segments that can only belong to one. Our customers control the rules around those segments, whether it's once a year or twice a year or twice a week, whatever it might be. That's how we manage that through. We also nowadays we have Airship Loyalty, and this is basically a web-based system, a web-based app that the customer can save to their phone from an email. It installs it as a web app, and then they can open up a loyalty number that can be scanned at the till. They can put single-use vouchers in there, as well as a toggle gift card in there as well. Fully integrated with Zonal Loyalty. So points balances against basket spend. It's really, really clever stuff. And if anybody wants to hear about that, they can get in touch afterwards. Just a final word on Teams, and then I'll ask Vic to sort of wrap up a little bit for us as a last word. Whatever you can do with your customers, you can also do with your teams. And this is really something that, I'm pushing hard on this year to help our hospitality customers engage better with their teams. It's something we've been doing for a number of years, actually, and serving up the same similar journeys to your teams as your customers is an absolute win. And we know how important it is to keep teams engaged. That's it. Vic, final word from you. Anything that you'd like to say to wrap up before we go on to questions?
Yeah, just 3 things, actually. It's kind of 3 top tips. I think the first one is just identify and profile those key groups, really understand how your database is broken down, because then you can just apply some really basic calculations, and that is your marketing strategy there in front of you. And you can also make a prediction of how much you're going to get back in as well. So it's much easier to go and ask the powers that be for incentives and stuff like that. So know who's driving the sales in your database and know where the opportunity is. That's the first thing. That's just sort of segmentation piece. The second thing is around personalization. So it's all very well as kind of sending out emails, but we want them to land, as tightly and with as much relevance as possible. And you're exactly right what you say about people expecting personalization. In fact, that Gen Z age group, they don't think it's a nice to have like other age groups. They absolutely demand it. They expect things to be on their own terms. So just gather as much data as possible. Plenty of demographic and geographic, get all that behavioral stuff, so as many sort of systems pointing towards your CRM as possible. And if you can even get some psychographic data in there as well, which you can even gather through sort of preference forms and stuff like that, then you've got something to be able to divide that communication down with. And the third thing is automation. Like automations, we've got a list at DataHawks of about 200 automations that we're kind of working through. And we've not even scratched the surface. There are so many, and these are literally making you money while you sleep. So even if all you did was just get your automations in place, really great welcome journey, really great birthday journey, really great post visit, you're already sort of switching on a steady stream of cash. That would be my top tips.
Amazing. Thanks, Vic. And from my side, it's a value exchange. Just nail it down as quickly as possible. Think about how you entice those customers to sign up with you, and then think about campaigns to drive more customers to the top of the funnel. Thanks for that, Vic, and thanks for hosting with me today. We've got a couple of questions, I think, in the chat, so I'm going to open those up. And there we go. Brilliant. There we go. Type them in here. Here we go. When it comes to the frequency of emails, what is it you would recommend? Go on, I'll let you go first.
No, do you know what? It's funny because I've got two schools of thought on this. The first one is, I don't think you can ever send too many emails. I think that you've got to kind of keep top of inbox and all that sort of stuff. And people get really afraid of sending emails, as long as they're relevant and as long as they're brand pieces and they fit really seamlessly into the experience. They're only enhancing the experience. So I don't think as long as the emails are good, you can send too many. For me, it's about making a sort of choice around your brand as well, and kind of deciding, does this fit with things like the frequency that we see within the business. But yeah, I think that as long as the emails are solid emails that completely fit within the brand, you can send really frequent emails. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I think that if you're trying to do a broad brush and you just say, right, we're going to try and send an email a week, I think you're thinking around the wrong metric. You're should be driving occupancy levels, seat, how many people have we got seated? Have we got spare seats at key occasions and key nights of the week? And really not thinking about how, because if I could send 100 emails on a Friday to my platinum customers, letting them know that I've got spare tables for that weekend and exclude anybody who's got a booking that weekend, I'd be driving towards revenue goals and not worrying about how many emails that I send out. So I think as long as the content is right and as long as the purpose is good and as long as you're not boring the customer and keeping sending to non-engaged customers, I think it's absolutely fine. Thank you, everyone. There's a final slide here, which is an exclusive offer for Zonal customers. If you want to take us up on that, you can scan the QR code. I think it's 50% off onboarding and 20% off Airship or Toggle for the lifetime of your contract. So there's a benefit for you. So if you want to take us up on that. But thanks, Vic, again, for helping me today. And thanks, everybody, for joining. And if you've got any questions, we look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.